So, more than likely gonna ramble on a fair bit here and everything, but just figured I'd show some of this shit here. I just recently bought several sets of torches for a just absolutely screaming price that I couldn't turn down. Um, Literally like pennies on the dollar of what it would be to buy the stuff new. And I don't want any of the new stuff anyways. I like the old shit. I'm just a, dork for all the old stuff. And so to me it works out great. But anyways, I got these really cool old air products regulators, and these things are just slicker than shit. I love these things. Um, I've already taken apart the oxygen regulator. You can kind of see there's a little bit shinier. Um, and these fuckers actually have a little thrust bearing in here, so they are extremely smooth and easy to turn. They're really, really nice. Um, this one actually came with a different style fitting on the end here. It's just a completely different type that than I've ever seen before. And so this one here is what it came with, which is actually a right hand thread even. Um, and you can kind of tell it's a fair bit different from the POL fitting, but I want to be able to use this with propane, so I put the POL fitting on here. But it really a bummer that this gauge here is damaged. These are really kick-ass old gauges, and I just dork out on this kind of stuff. I think it's fucking awesome. But I haven't been able to open these up yet. These collars on here that hold the glass in are extremely tight, and I don't want to damage these gauges. So I suppose if anybody has any thoughts on what I could potentially do to free these up, I thought about putting some oil in there, but the only problem with that is I don't want the oil to potentially get in and fuck up the printing or painting, whatever the hell. I don't want any oil to fuck up the dial face on there. But my question to you guys, if anybody has one of these air products acetylene gauges or knows of where I can get one, I've done some looking around myself on the internet. You can actually read, it'll focus, the gauge number on there. And so type that into the internet, haven't been able to find anything. The other thing too is I would love to be able to send this gauge out to somebody who could repair this individual gauge. That would really be ideal. To me anyways, it's extremely scary to open up the backside of these things, and take her skirt off, if you will, and see how absolutely fucking tiny and minute and delicate the little parts are inside of here. So that's quite a intimidating thing to me to try and repair one of these. Plus, also, I don't want to risk damaging this. So, if anybody's got any insight on that, that would be fantastic. Yeah, and here's that older style. I'm assuming it's older style anyways. I've never seen this before until I got that regulator. And then this here is a POL fitting on one side, and then whatever the shit this thing is called. And you can see here that sure as shit, it is right hand thread, which, like I said, maybe that's, obviously if this style here is all you ever seen, and then you see one of these, you'd probably think that's pretty weird too. I've only ever seen the POL fittings. But so I got that set, and then I got some Smith regulators here. Unfortunately, these were damaged. Both of the gauges on top here were damaged, like it had been dropped, and the oxygen fitting here was also broken off, like it had been dropped. As you can see in the background here, I've ordered some more gauges, and I'll get into that here in a second. But opened up the oxygen regulator on the Air Products one, and it looks, you know, basically absolutely fucking brand new in there. I have no idea how old those things are or anything like that, but I think it's safe to say those have probably been around a couple decades, and it looked absolutely fantastic inside of those things. These were pretty good as well too. And then I also got some, I would assume pretty, pretty fairly old Victor regulators here as well. And this is just really cool. I think this is awesome. They put cubic feet markings on the gauge here. And so they have, what the hell is it? They have 220 cubic foot marked right at 2000 psi. And so I'm assuming that basically lines up with being 250 cubic feet. And actually, you can see there's 240 on the 2200 psi. I'm assuming that pretty much lines up with 250 cubic feet for the tanks that I have. So I think that's really neat. But yeah, really love these, old school gauges. You can see the logo for US gauge there. And actually, that one says it up top, but made in USA. Made in USA. If you look at, hopefully I can get this going here, but it is the older Victor logo, made in US. If somebody knows when the cutoff was of that older logo, and sadly when they stopped making regulators in the US, let me know, or can I look up by serial number roughly what year these things were, just because, like I said, I'm a dork for these old stuff, old tools and everything. I think it's really cool. But yeah, took this one apart too, cleaned it up. I didn't see any reason to do anything on the inside as far as new parts or anything like that. I did put a 45 degree fitting, as you can see, on the outlet here, because some of these old torches don't have flashback arrestors and built in, and so I want to have torch mount flashback arrestors. And these are really cool. This actually came on the Smith regulators. It is a NPT on this side here, a check valve here, and then whatever it's called for the hose thread right here. And so normally, if you were wanting to adapt between those different things, you would need one fitting that adapts from NPT to the hose thread, and then a separate check valve, and then the hose thread on the bottom here. So these two here were actually what came on these regulators, and this Smith check valve here, like I said, stole off the Smith regulators. I'm well aware that the flashback arrestor has a check valve in it, but this little part here, only adds half an inch to the length of it or something like that. And so for there's just no way to say this, for only a half an inch difference, I'll take having an extra check valve there. But if I remember right, these are Eaton brand brass, and you can see I've got this fitting pretty well buried into the regulator, and it works out really, really cool because the front cap of the regulator actually helps to hold that 45 in place, so the 45 is not going to rotate, which I think is pretty slick. But yeah, I'll see if I can get, I think I can. This is actually old enough that instead of being Smith, it's actually Smiths. And I would assume that that's like Smith's Brothers, because that's typically the way a lot of companies were named back in the day. Dodge Brothers, Hobart Brothers, maybe Smith Brothers or Smith's Brothers, although I don't know on that one. But Yeah. I think it's kind of funny, you talk to somebody, and they say, oh yeah, if I won the lottery, I'd buy a jet and I'd buy a Ferrari and all this crap. I would, I would have a shop set up to where it looks like you're, going, just went through a time warp or something and, went back to 1955 or something like that. I just think it's cool. All this old stuff is really, really neat. And, this was kind of a time where, companies took pride in what they did. And, we had true craftsmen in this country and everything. And it wasn't just a bunch of Chinese garbage that you could, you know, buy on Amazon and have delivered to your front door in 24 hours. And in 36 hours, when it breaks on you, you throw it in the trash and buy another one. But rant for another day, I suppose. But yeah, um, when I first saw it actually kind of pissed me off to see Victor, California on top of here, because it's just like, God damn it, like why the fuck did they do that, But I'm also thinking about it from my perspective, in today's time where California is a third world shithole. Of course, back in the day when Victor actually started there as a halfway worth of shit place to live. But yeah, really get a kick out of this neat old stuff. And unfortunately, this is, well, I mean, I guess it's probably a good thing to some regard that this is a modern flashback arrestor, because I did actually get some older check valves that weren't functioning. So I course checked the function of both of these here, not the flashback part anyways, but the check valve anyways. But, so like all this stuff here is just, to me, really, really cool. Made long ago in an era that unfortunately is long gone. When people were actually, proud of, not only where they lived, but what they made and everything. And then sadly, this modern flashback arrest here, warning, read instructions before use, may cause cancer in the communist state of California and all that bullshit. But anyways, so the gauges were damaged on this Smith's one here, like I was saying, and so I ordered a couple gauges online, and the one set here, this bottom set, was advertised as being a U.S. gauge, which, as we just saw on the older set there, was actually some pretty cool American-made stuff. And I got these things in, and I was like, fuck me, this really sucks. These are Chinesium as shit. And, fucking, warning, some of you may live in a state that's hazardous to your health and blah, 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 and all that bullshit. And unfortunately, these are Chinese. This is the box that it came in, U.S. gauge division and what have you. And then you look at the top of it there. Oh, lovely, made in China. And yet the company name is U.S. Gauge. Like, that just pisses me off. The only reason I bought these is that they were relatively cheap. Well, actually, they were extremely cheap. They were $10 each, which, okay, granted, there's $80 in gauges there, but I just wanted something for now to put on these regulators. But really sad, I find anyways, to see the evolution of a company over time. Granted, from outward appearance, they do actually look the same. And I will say, I was very, very, very happy to see that these are only in PSI. Because, this is America. We ain't got time for no metric bullshit. And so this is a more modern, although has been on my service truck for over a decade, more modern set of Victor gauges, and you can see that there's PSI on the inside, and then kilopascals, I think, on the outside, which I just think is fucking stupid. I don't understand why they put this shit on here. Granted, I am well aware that the rest of the world uses the metric system, and the U.S. and Nigeria, I think, and I don't know, 2 other countries use imperial units or whatever you want to call it. But Victor is an American company. This is old enough that these gauges are made in the U.S., although it's probably hard to see through there. And when you go on Victor's website, they recommend all their pressures in PSI. So why the fuck is there metric on these gauges? It just irritates me. So, like I said, I do like that these are only in PSI and that they do not have metric on them. So that part at least is nice. But it's just shitty to see the, decline, death spiral of a company from, quality American-made stuff that they were proud of to, essentially just rebranded Chinese shit. This bottom row was advertised as being U.S. gauge, and they're all the same. They're all, they all have a U.S. gauge logo on them, but they all look Chinesium as shit. This upper row was not advertised as being anything. It was just advertised as unbranded. And so if you look at these 3 here, they are clearly different from the US gauge ones, and they are noticeably lighter and just overall chintzier and shittier. And I don't understand why the crappier a product gets, the more bullshit packaging that they put around it. Like, why the fuck is there a clear protective saran wrap on this fucking gauge? But this one here, of the set that I bought that was unbranded, is actually US gauge. So, and funny enough, that one actually has a different sticker on the top of it than, yeah, so that's the identical one there. Oh, I've already peeled the sticker off that one, and I did that one too. But yeah, all of these had identical stickers on the top. But yeah, I kind of wish I didn't order these and had found some old American ones, but oh well, I guess. But I showed this torch here. This is near as I can tell a Victor valve body, and then unfortunately a Chinese cut and attachment on it. But like I said, I got such a screaming price on all this stuff that I can't complain whatsoever. This one here is my Journeyman Torch that I bought used, but I've had for a very long time. And, unfortunately, is the modern, warning label bullshit and everything. But, still a nice torch. This one has the built-in flash arrestors. That's what these 2 guys are right here. And the modern Victor valves here have check valves right here. So, that is the cool thing about the modern stuff, is you have flashback arrestors and check valves built right into the valve body. Actually, I can't remember which. No, this one came with the Air Products regulators and that torch setup that I got. This thing is cool as shit. I don't know what year this would be from or anything, and it's not really coming out on camera all that great, but the the patina, if you will, the color of the corrosion and the just dulling of the brass over time is just absolutely gorgeous. this torch here is not working properly. When you squeeze down on the oxygen lever, you basically get just a trickle out the end of the cutting attachment here. And the valves are extremely stiff and just generally needs a little love. But these older torches here, and actually you can even get modern ones that don't have flashback arrestors, but these older torches here don't have built-in flashback arrestors, and in the case of these two here anyways, they don't actually even have check valves in it. So you can add torch mount flashback arrestors like you see here. The only thing I don't like about it is that how long and heavy this whole thing gets. So that's why I have added the flashback arrestors to the regulator side there. Of course, the problem with only having flashback arrestors on the regulator is that the hoses can still blow up on you if you're using an old torch like this, because this old one here does not have any check valves or anything. And I think it's rather interesting that you can see that this one has had a flashback into the torch because all black and shit in the acetylene line there. And it's interesting to see that the oxygen side is clean. So typically, especially running, say a cutting attachment like this, the oxygen pressure is higher than the acetylene pressure. And so if you are going to cross-contaminate, most likely what's going to happen is that oxygen is going to cross-contaminate into the acetylene. And then if you have a flashback, as you can see has happened here, you essentially bad things happen. If it's a small flashback, maybe it'll just, pop and hiss and whatever and, not be the end of the world. But, you can rupture a hose, and then if you cross-contaminate into the tank, say you put 20 cubic feet of oxygen into the acetylene tank, then now you're having a really fucking bad day. So that's why I have at least the flashback arrestors and the check valves on the regulators. I really don't want to put flashback arrestors on here just because I think it's annoying and gets in the way. But at least I have them on there, and I have double check valves there. So, hopefully not have a problem with that. It really kind of irritates me. Some people say, oh, well, torches can be extremely dangerous or whatever. I would argue that they are not dangerous at all. However, they do deserve a certain level of knowledge and a deep respect for the potential of what can go wrong. But yeah, so older torches, no flashback arrestors, no check valves. And then another older one here too that again is the older Victor logo. And yeah, if somebody knows when this cutoff date was or anything, please let me know. I don't know, if somebody can look up maybe the serial number on this shit or anything, that would be really, really cool, because I just think this is cool as hell. These two older torches here, and really it works out pretty fantastic that I have, modern Journeyman and the small size, and then I've got old school Journeyman and the small size here. Whoops. And this torch here especially has sure fucking seen some use. I'd be curious the stories this thing could tell if it could talk. But this one here, this one here leaks oxygen out of here. And so I want to send both of these out to my local weld repair shop and have him fix these up and get them working again. And then, I guess probably I'll take, make another video of, actually using these things and cutting with them, because I don't really want to right now. Like this smaller one here won't cut at the moment, and then the larger one leaks oxygen, so not too excited about that. And I guess to show you here as well too, on the larger one, it also has had a flashback on the acetylene side. And again, you can see there is this one here is the modern Journeyman. No check valves on the older stuff. And you can see the one that is modern with the check valves, perfectly clean. But yeah, yeah, gonna send these out to, get some love and get some fixing and everything. But I'm actually gonna ask him not to clean any of these at all. Like, as far as, I don't want them buffed and polished to new condition, because I I really love the way that these here look. Years ago, I was out on the road with this torch here, and I was changing the tip on it, and I started to thread the nut on, and I actually fucking cross-threaded this son of a bitch, and I was just so pissed at myself. And but the shitty thing was, I was out on the road. It was 2 a.m. on a Sunday or whatever the crap it was, and I just had to get the fucking job done. And so I was like, fuck, all right, and just cranked that bitch down on there, and got the job done. So that was cool. And then I sent this cutting attachment out to my local weld repair shop, and he had it for, I don't know, a week or whatever it was. And when I went to go pick it up, I was confused because it looked like he sold my cutting attachment, that was, all, it was actually worse than this when I gave it to him, but, that was all sooty and corroded and whatnot. And what I got back was an absolutely pristine, beautiful, looked absolutely brand new, because he had done such a fantastic job fixing it up, and fix the threads on here. And he actually didn't even have to replace this, I don't even know what you call that, but didn't have to replace it. He just chased the threads or whatever on the end here, and you couldn't even tell the difference. It was really, really cool. And so I guess that's something, in case somebody doesn't know, is you can get all the parts that you need, that I'm aware of anyways. You can get all the parts that you need to fix all of this kind of stuff. Even though Victor has unfortunately moved overseas with their manufacturing, and like if you go down to your local weld shop, you'll see, well, for one, they have those bullshit Victor Edge regulators that are all plastic, and I hear they're absolute junk quality. Thankfully, you can still get these. You can get this style here, the Victor 450s, I think they are, whatever the shit they are. You can still get that style, but yeah, the modern Victor stuff, unfortunately, is made in China, and also made in Mexico. But you can get really all the parts that you would kind of ever imagine that you would need to fix these things and keep them going. Yes, it is a, if you're talking about buying these things new, I think, valve body is about, I don't know, $150, and probably about $150 for the cutting attachment too, if you were to buy them separately. So it is kind of nuts that if you were to buy it new, that, that's $300 right there. But so long as you take care of it, it'll last you a lifetime. And once you do finally manage to wear it out or damage it or whatever, it can always be repaired. Well, currently, anyways, it can be repaired. Hopefully it remains that way. I, cut a little bit of steel with this one here before I realized that this was leaking oxygen out of here. And I'm sure that I'll be able to take this down to the weld repair shop and have it fixed up and have it mechanically new again, although hopefully looking all cruddy and weathered like it is now. But oh yeah, so yeah, I don't know when Victor change their logo like that. But I have a couple things, like this old cut and tip here. That's the older logo with a really large T on it. And the Victor California, I don't know when they stopped that. But yeah, I don't really know what the point of this video was, other than to ask if somebody knows, ask if somebody knows where I can get a acetylene gauge for that Air Products. Yeah, because I'd really like to be able to fix that, and get that working again. And yeah, get these all fixed up and looking like new again.